NFL season is here, and the Lockdown Defense Sports Network welcomes you to another NFL season. We are here to give you a front row seat to the pulse of the NFL. Join us every Tuesday night as we break down the latest news, dissect the hottest headlines, and fire off fearless predictions that might shape the future of the league. From the locker room drama to game-changing plays, we're just not watching football, we're living it. As the entire hit squad with young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dubb, the real AG Alex Givens, and yours truly, Coach Defense, joins forces with the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, Violator, and the Saudi pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. So buckle up, because this isn't your average recap. This is the Lockdown Blitz, where the takes are bold, the insights are gritty, and the passion runs deep. Let's go. All my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lockdown Blitz. I'm your host, Coach Defense. Joining me, the hit squad, young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dubb, the real AG Alex Givens, and the NFL Nation Live crew, Captain Jack Rackham, Violator Man himself, and the man, the myth, the legend, Ref Guru. Gentlemen, what is happening? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Week 15 is ready, locked and loaded, and we are ready to bring it to you live and direct. Fellas, I think we might know some things now after 14 weeks of football. Just maybe.
We don't know everything. We don't know everything.
But to go from knowing nothing to something, I feel good about myself. I don't know about y'all, because we spent 13, 14 weeks of knowing absolutely, positively nothing. Now we might know a little something, but let's go around the room real quick vibe check. Young RG, what's going on, good brother? How you feeling out there?
You know the vibes are high right now, Coach. The game probably took like 6 years off my life, but it was totally worth it.
7, yes. Yeah, 7. For me, yes, indeed. But yeah, definitely got the dub on Monday night against the Eagles, man. Shout out to Jalen Hurts and Cam Hart. But yes, indeed. Yeah, I can't complain about that at all. Indeed. Ref Guru, good sir. How you doing out there in NFL Nation Live in Raiderland?
Hey, it's good. You know, it'll be interesting to see if Phillip Rivers really does suit up. And it's, I don't know if it's cheating, but, the Eagles got another bye this week, so we'll see.
Oh God. Jeez. Are they playing the Raiders this week? Is that what you
Okay. That's a knee slapper.
Yeah, right. Indeed. Coach Mike Dubb, good sir. What's going on out there in Commander's World?
Hey man, we're here. Not much going on the field. Not much going on here. Not too different. Big fat zero. But we're here, man. We're here.
Understandable. All right, Captain Jack Rackham, good sir. How you feeling out there? What's going on for you? See, you made it back. I know you was having issues with your flight and getting home, but you look like you made it home safe. Everything's good.
I mean, it's a running gag. Like what happens on my flights this time? Going there, they put my scooter in baggage check, so I had to go. That was in Vegas to get it in baggage check. On the way, something happened on the way. God, I can't even remember what happened. Obviously, something happened. It was just normal for me. But I do want to say, congrats to that deviant gambler up in the left corner. I actually won 2 games.
Degenerate gambler, please.
That we were talking about. Oh, degenerate. Yeah. Well, deviant, degenerate. I'm not sure. Actually, one's kind of. Yeah, I don't want to talk about. But yeah, the degenerate is better than deviant because then the cops would be looking for him. But I won 2 games. Out of what we were talking about, I lost one because. Oh my God! Wait a second. Let me get this. Wait a second. Detroit came back and they won when I cut. Oh my God! Detroit. The one time I picked the friggin' Cowboys.
And that's how it goes.
Michigan Wildcats got you, didn't they?
Yeah, a little bit. That's how it works.
We'll wait.
That's how it works.
Segment, but good to see everybody.
Indeed. Violet, good sir. What's going on out there? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. Just recovering from a long weekend and disappointing weekend at that. But hey, I'm here ready to rock and roll.
Indeed. The real AG Alice Givens, good sir. How you feeling out there?
I echo what our man Violator said. Rough weekend, vibes are low, but hey, I'm here, ready to rock and roll.
Understandable. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, man. We're going to get right into it, man. We're going to talk about some things here. We're going to break down the week 14 as it was and is, and get into some good topics today. We got a good show lined up for you. If you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button on the Lockdown Divas Sports Network YouTube channel. Help us out here. Hit the subscribe button if you can kindly do so. It is free. We appreciate the support as always. But we got Ref Guru here today. As always, we like to start the show when he is gracing us with his presence to start talking about some refereeing in the NFL. So we got some things we want to talk about here. And our first segment in our show we like to do, we call Ask the Ref. So we're going to talk about some things about safeties. I think we're going to talk about ref. There was a lot of Twitter buzz going on over the weekend about some calls, and it started on Thursday night. I think I want to say it didn't even wait till the weekend. I think it was going to is getting into what happened with the Lions Cowboys game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
So we had I guess some conversations about what is or is not a safety, right? So we're going to get into our segment. Like I said, we like to call it Ask the Ref, and we're going to discuss the nuances or the particulars of what a safety is. So I'm going to find this clip here if I can do so in short order. Now, actually, it's not a clip; it's actually a GIF because YouTube is dinging me for showing footage, obviously of NFL footage for long periods of time. So then there's that, but we're going to. I think I got slick, and I think I found a way to do it. Maybe not to get us dinged, so we'll see. We're gonna try it out, see what they say. But I created a GIF out of what happened with Dak in the Lions game. So there was some controversy about what happened with Dak and why this was or was not a safety. So let's hear it. Let's see how we can get this loaded up here. Alrighty, there it is. Okay, so let's go into the film room real quick and let's cue this up. So. Alrighty. That's all right. So as you can see, Dak Prescott gets sacked near the end zone. Yeah. In the game against the Lions, and a lot of people were complaining that the referees didn't call us a safety. So, if you would indulge us in this particular conversation, real quick, what was your thoughts on this call, and why do you think the referees ruled in the way they ruled it?
Because they're blind.
Oh, well.
Okay, next question.
Right.
Well, this was a good one because actually when I saw the play, I was actually waiting to find out what the call on the field was going to be because it didn't look like any of the officials, really had a down the goal line look at it like what we're seeing here. Mm-hmm. And I think the ruling on the field was that it was a safety, and then after replay review, it was taken off. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, that is correct. Mm-hmm.
And so the issue here with the safety is that, and a lot of people, again, this call is really tight, but let's remember that it was ruled a safety on the field. So apparently New York had, convincing evidence to overrule this. I think it's really tight. I think it really could have gone either way, even with or without the replay review. But the question really originates is what is a safety, and a lot of people were hung up because Dak was tackled in the end zone. But the safety really is about the ball and who puts the ball in the end zone. Now, again, this is really tight. You could argue it both ways. Should Notre Dame have gotten in? Should they have not? There's a lot of things you could discuss either way. But based on the way that it came out, it was ruled a safety and then it was overturned. Basically, what they've said here is that Dak is not responsible for putting the ball in the end zone, that he's contacted prior to the ball going into the end zone, so therefore he gets forward progress. If he had backed up all by himself, and it's very close here, but if he had backed up all by himself and he took the ball into the end zone and then he gets tackled, yes, that's going to be a safety. But based on what we have here, which again is a really tight call, the ruling is, even though he was, quote, tackled in the end zone, Dak was not responsible for putting the ball in the end zone. And so therefore he gets forward progress. The fact that he was tackled in the end zone does not make it a safety. So there are other ways that you can get a safety, right? A foul committed in the end zone by the offense. We've seen that one. But generally, a safety is about where the ball is and is the ball in the end zone? And if it is, how did it get there? Obviously, a penalty in the end zone doesn't have anything to do with the ball, but that's a foul committed by the offense in the end zone. And that's usually almost always a safety. They could have offsetting or something like that. But in this case, although it's really close, we have to go with what New York is saying is that the ruling on the field was safety, probably because the officials didn't have a close enough view down the goal line there to actually make a great ruling on the field. We generally don't want to award safeties. And so at any level, you'll do everything, you'll use every trick in the rule book to try to not make it a safety. And although this is close, you can make this not a safety. And so that's what we did.
Okay. All right. So
you can like it or not like it, but that's operationally how things worked, and therefore we don't have a safety in this case.
Okay. So an interesting thing about what Navman said here, he said, I was told by several folks that the goal line is not part of the end zone in regards to a safety, like it would be a touchdown play if there was any truth to that.
The goal line is in the end zone. And so when it comes to a safety, if you're in the end zone, to not have a safety, the entire ball has to be out of the end zone. So if you're looking at right now, we're looking at that still shot, right? So if you see that cowboy there on the end in the dark jersey, you see his right foot, that the farthest tip of the ball would have to be in the green for it not to be a safety. The goal line is in the end zone. So I know the goal line is 3 or 4 inches thick there, but going into the end zone, the front of the ball just has to tip the very edge of that white. It's as if you drew a straight line on the where the white and the green meet. If you drew a vertical plate of glass all the way to infinity, as soon as that ball touches that plate of glass, that's a touchdown. Going the other way, you have to go all the way through the glass for it not to be a safety. But I'm not sure where that information came from that the goal line is not in the end zone, but I believe that's incorrect.
Okay.
The goal line is not. The goal line is in the end zone and not in the actual what we call field of play. The field of play is from the green to the other side of the green. The white and the blue is the end zone.
Showing deep. Okay. All right. Well, he cleared it up for me, guys. Y'all got any questions or more to add or rebut about what happened in the Dallas game?
Yeah, that was my only question that I had is, does the entire ball have to be in the end zone for it to be considered a safety? But
the entire ball, the entire ball essentially, yeah. Well, let's say it this way. For it not to be a safety, the entire ball has to be out of the end zone. So by their other reasoning is that if it's not all the way out, then yes, it would be technically a safety. Again, this plays really close. You could argue that the entire ball is not, out of the end zone. And honestly, even with this shot, that's still not a very good angle. We're still not looking directly down the goal line.
Yeah.
Now, I realize that the position there isn't going to be off that much, but you'd be surprised at field level what that would actually look like from the goal line. But what they're going to say here is that Dak was initially contacted outside or with the ball out, not Dak himself, but he was contacted with the ball out of the end zone. And if any of that contact took place with the ball out of the end zone, he gets forward progress and they're not going to rule it a safety. Guys, this is as tight as it gets, whether it is or it isn't. And the fact that it was ruled on the field as a safety, I didn't think they were going to have enough to overturn this. They decided they did. That we don't really know what their conversations were about why they overturned it. But I can tell you that having been in those conversations and those little huddles you see of us all in there down the field, we do not want to award safeties, and we'll use every trick in the book, so to speak, to not make it a safety. That could have perhaps been part of their conversation. Did the Cowboys get away with one? Probably. I think more than likely they did, but that's how it works. And so therefore, no free points for Detroit on that.
Okay.
I got something to add to that or ask about that. Why don't they use the
Pylon
chip.
cam.
pylon cam, ref? Because it's right there and it would give you precise view of it. Now they're showing you from a field camera. Why not use that pylon cam that's already there for that?
That beats me. I don't have an answer for that either, Wayne. I would think that if they had that angle or that view, they probably should have used it. We don't know that they didn't, but if they did, we never saw it. So your observation is correct, but we might be making an assumption that they had that, and that may be what their conclusive evidence was. But we'll never know because we didn't see that. But it's highly likely that if that was that pylon cam was clear enough, that juxtaposition down there on the field could have been enough for them to give them what they wanted, which was to not award a safety in this case.
Yeah, my question is, why not show that to the audience?
Oh no! We can't do that.
I think
Can't do that.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on this show talking about why there isn't more transparency, and I don't know if they showed anything to the coaches or the team that validated their call, or they're just going to run in silence like they normally do. I wish we had answers for that, but unfortunately we don't. And until there's more transparency about these types of calls, the discussions for and against and all that, including yours there, V, will be part of the ongoing discussions, unfortunately.
I'm
I
just saying.
still say you got the chip. You
Yeah.
put the
I'm
chip
just saying, but that
in the ball.
pylon cam is in cahoots with the chip. So
Yeah,
Yes.
but maybe
You got-
someone standing in front of. I mean, it's only like a foot off the ground.
yeah, it's about a foot off the ground. So it was still from that angle and where they are on the field, you can still tell whether the ball hit that line or not.
Yeah,
sure.
With that.
I think that the larger picture here in this discussion, which I agree with you all on, is that in addition to the lack of transparency, the NFL doesn't seem to embrace or use or know how to use or know how to embrace the technology that is available to them to make this game better. And I think until they resolve that, we're going to continue to have these types of issues. And in some cases, we've talked about that on the show. In some cases, it is the officials and the training and all that. In other cases, there's 7 against 22, and it's a very fast game that happens a lot. These guys are, I don't defend them all the time, but they're pretty darn good. But at the same time, they need some help, and they're at a disadvantage. And I think we need to do a better job of helping them do their job. And we're talking about those things on this show. And I'm really surprised that the NFL is not working, or at least the officiating department, not working more closely with the competition committee with regards to how we're going to use this technology, because they really need some help. I saw some other tweets out there too. I'll just add this as an add-on. The officials don't make the rules. The officials are just the gatekeeper of the rule book. The NFL makes the rules. It's just like the the police officers, public safety officers in your local communities. You know, the city council, if you will, makes the local laws, and the public safety's job is to enforce it. And it's kind of the same thing here. But because I saw some folks, it's like, well, you know, the officials ought to do this with the rule and that with the rule. Well, there's only so many things we can do with them. Bending them like we just did to make that not a safety is one of them. But but
Yeah,
there's
bending.
a lot of that.
That's lightly, yeah, bending. Yeah.
Right.
No,
Fair
that metal is so that metal is so broken that if it was to run a check from the FAA, they would see the cracks in the metal, and that plane would go down. Bending my arse, it was broke.
Yeah,
and
that
I
was a
cleaned
tough
it
one.
up for you, Coach.
Yeah.
I cleaned it up for you.
Well, it's
That
20
was-
minutes in. I think you're safe now.
Yeah, that was an interesting call, though. It was a good one. It was tight. We'll never know all the things that went into it, but I think we got a pretty good overview of what happened, why it happened, and why we think it was called the way it was. And that may be more than we saw anywhere else out there in on the social media site. So,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, any other questions for Ref? I got a slight question for him. You're gonna laugh when I ask him this, but I'm gonna wait till the end.
I
got one.
Go
I
ahead.
got one as well.
Okay. And I already pre gave it to you, Ref. So I don't want to see you doing that slide dancing like in the movie Best Little Hoe House in Texas, where a guy goes like this and then he goes to the hat. You know, he does the slide to get out of the question. This is at you. This is at you.
okay.
There was a lot of people and high up people, such as, and I didn't know who Dave Portnoy was when I saw the video. I said, who the hell's Dave Portnoy? I don't know who Dave Portnoy is. Well, he's a Barstool guy, and apparently he probably lost not a gazillion, but he lost a lot of money on the end of the Raiders Donkeys game because of the last 2 or 3 plays. Okay. And per you guys knowing what I'm going to talk about, and I even when I did my show that night, by the way, that's a plug for the Captain Jack Rackham channel on YouTube. Shameless. There it is. When I did my show that night, I said, there's no way in hell that you would kick a field goal down 10 with only a couple seconds left unless something's going on. I said, what was the spread? And of course, I heard later on that the spread was 7.5 or 8.5, depending upon what book you got it. So tell me that the refs were legitimately doing their job, because they looked kind of like that was a quick flag. I mean, I'm even to me giving the Raiders a gimme. Remember, when the Raiders play, it's 11-on-19 because it's 11 plus 7 plus the guy in New York. Okay. And that's true, guys. Check them. I think the math is correct. It's 11-on-19 when the Raiders play anybody. Give me a synopsis of what happened on that play that they just had to call. What is it? Keeping the guy down so they can get I can't
Delay
remember
game.
Well, it was a delay of game, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see the Raiders Broncos game. I saw a little, if you will, X or Twitter chirping about that after. I think a delay of game is questionable at that point of the game when the game is essentially out of reach, if you will. I mean, so that one's really hard to understand. If it was a tight game, Raiders trying to get in position to, kick a game time field goal or something. Okay, I could see maybe a delay a game. I didn't see the play, so I don't know how egregious, it was. I don't know what happened. It was the Broncos defender just holding the offensive player down, or did he kick the ball away?
Kind of laid on him.
Yeah, he was on him, but he wasn't like, oh my God, like the Saragusa on Gannon on him, where he was,
were the
he was
Raiders
on him, and he didn't get up allegedly. And even I said, what the hell just happened? And again, this is me saying this. So he got off of him, but apparently he got off of him way too late, and
Well,
they threw the flag.
if the Raiders were in a hurry up offense and the players legitimately trying to get up, so they can get the ball back to the middle of the field or to an official so the ball can be spotted. Yeah, I could see why there should be a flag there. But if there really wasn't any other thing going on there, I wouldn't it's hard to call the flag suspicious. But if that's not suspicious, I don't know what suspicious is.
Well, suspicious is calling a
Little
delayed game
suspicious.
penalty there when they should have called it a couple of years ago against the what was it, against the Rams, or what who were we playing? I don't remember. When the friggin' guy from the defensive lineman that played for Notre Dame came, what the hell's his name, violator, that played for us and played for them and played for a bunch of other people, and they called a
Hillary?
personal foul for knocking the ball out when it was delay a game, and we ended up losing that game. So there's my mini rant on delay a game.
All right.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, Ref, before we let you get out of here, what
And
was
I
your
kept it light, Coach. I kept
Yeah,
it
you
light.
talk about Tillery, Cap?
yeah,
Thank you, Jerry
That's what I thought.
Tillery.
yeah.
Jerry Tillery.
Now on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Damn it.
He's going
Yeah.
around the AFC West, man. He's like he's okay. I won't even say what he's
Yeah,
like.
I won't say it either.
Yep.
I was going to do the same thing. I'm
Stop you there before you get going, brother.
I stopped myself.
Yeah. But in regards to the Isaiah likely catch, no catch, Ref, what was your thoughts?
I don't know how you have possession of the ball with 2 feet down the end zone and it not be a touchdown. I don't know how we got into this. You got to make a football move. You got to survive the ground. You have to put it in a box with a bow tie and gift wrap it and hand it to your mom on the sideline. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've gotten into this point where it's crazy because and part of the reason why it drives me nuts is because there's no consistency. Now there are a couple things here, right? There was some calls in that Ravens Steelers game that were troubling, because we had the Aaron Rodgers thing, right, where he caught his own pass and then they said it should have been intercepted. I get we can go into that one at some point, but I get the nuances of the Rodgers thing because the offense is going to get priority for the ball. But then as soon as Rodgers is down, his knee is down, if he still has the ball, that's not Ravens' ball. So we can talk about that. But my point here is that things that happen in the field of play where you have to, survive the ground and all that, okay, maybe. But guys, if we've seen them call touchdowns where the smallest part of Brown on the football has crossed the plane and they've thrown up their hands for touchdown. And yet we've seen other players make catches in the end zone 2 feet down. And I don't know why we got into this thing where all of a sudden on Sunday they said, and the Steelers defensive player made a great play, but it's not where we have, bobbled possession or no possession. We have possession of the ball. And he's 2 feet down. That should have been a touchdown. If he'd had that ball in on his shoulder, right, that would have been a touchdown, and that wouldn't have been any more of a football move than holding it out here like this. So I don't understand that call. I don't think we'll ever understand that call. I think the Ravens got cheated out of a touchdown there, and I think it's unfortunate.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you have it.
I had
There you
a
have it.
Quick question for Ref as well. One thing I've never understood regarding end zone catches and the getting 2 feet down is when you are going towards out of bounds, dragging your 2 feet, that is okay. But if you are with your heel towards out of bounds, you catch it with your toes in, and then the heel comes down out of bounds, that's considered out. And that to me has just always been a kind of weird ruling. I've never understood why it's okay to drag them out, but it's not okay to catch it inbounds, have possession, and then similarly a body part goes out of bounds.
The short answer is it doesn't make any sense. But some of what
Thank you.
some of what we've adopted over the years has just kind of been grassrooted or grandfathered into the overall acceptance of what we see. And therefore, if you're catching the ball and your toes are down and you're falling down out of the end zone, there's no way to get your foot down. So that's a touchdown. Two toes, right? Was John Madden used to say 1 knee equals 2 feet. But in this case, to talk about your example, if a receiver catches a ball very much like what's his name in the Super Bowl against the Cardinals, right?
Santonio Holmes.
Antonio.
Yeah, that is the San Antonio Holmes touchdown at the end of the game, right? 2 feet down, you're falling out of bounds, you survive the ground, so to speak, touchdown. But if he had been turned around, facing the end zone, if he'd have gotten 2 toes down and fallen backwards, would that have been a touchdown if his heels had come down on the sidelines? The answer is no. And I don't really have an explanation for that. It's just part of what's been accepted as part of, quote, the foot, but nobody's really ever defined what the foot is. We know that the foot includes the toes if you're falling out of bounds, but it has to be the whole foot if you're not falling out of bounds. Doesn't make any sense. They need to figure out what really constitutes possession and or touchdown. And if they say you have to have 2 feet, what does that mean? Maybe it's defined or written in some different color ink somewhere, but it's a little bit of a challenge to try to get the fans to buy into the fact that you got to have your whole foot if you're facing one way, but only part of your foot if you're not. That's the only way I really have of being able to dial it in so that we can all basically understand it. But that's generally the way that it works. But then again, you have Likely's touchdown for the Ravens, 2 feet down. That was all parts of both feet.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, he's got to make a football move and have a third step.
In the end zone?
When
Right.
did 2 feet down all become a third step? Oh, you got to make a football move. Oh, yeah, maybe in the field of play. If that had been a pass in the field of play, I might have supported that it was incomplete. But it shouldn't be. But I could probably support it based on their crazy way that they're trying to determine what a catch is. But 2 feet down with possession in the end zone, how is that never a touchdown? Oh, well, he's got to make a football move. He's got to get a third foot down. No, that's nonsense. I don't know what they're smoking over there, but it's some really quality stuff because
I'm not commenting about a third foot either.
Understood. And the whole foot thing, part of your argument is crazy. They need to fix that and determine what constitutes the foot. It can't be part of the foot one way and how it best to be the whole foot the other way. How do you play football like that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I appreciate you validating it.
Right. That part. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Because it's like I call it the Michael Jackson lean. We have the Michael Jackson lean and with the 2 toes in front, you're good.
Yeah.
But if you're moonwalking, trying to catch it in the media,
moonwalking.
Yeah.
Moonwalking. Can't moonwalk and get a touchdown. It's weird to me.
If a player were to catch the ball in the corner of the end zone, facing the end zone, and he's on the balls of his feet, all right, and he has possession, but his heels come down on the end line, that's still a touchdown. That you shouldn't have to get the whole foot in if you don't have to get the whole foot in. Do we have the whole foot or no?
Yeah.
You can't say you have to have both feet down and say, oh, except for the toes. How can you be exceptions
right
when in the end zone when guys are trying to score in the game? If you want to have different nuances in the field of play, all right, but in the end zone, that needs to be buttoned up. It needs to be tightened up because you're cheating a game, you're cheating the players, you're cheating the fans, you're cheating everything when you have different rules for what constitutes a catch and a touchdown in the end zone. It's crazy.
It's like wherever we feel like that day.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because Tony Dungy had a tweet out that you could have 16 crews say that out of 16 crews that 5 crews would say Likely had a catch, 5 crews would say it wasn't a catch, and 1 crew doesn't know. what
Right.
it was. And so the inconsistency is ridiculous. And when they don't use the technology,
Wait a second. I got a hammer ref on this one. Said 16 crews, 5 said yes, 5 said no, and then 1 said it doesn't. There you go. Where's the other crews, ref? Because you're missing 5 crews.
well, because they had a bye week,
Right.
so they don't know.
It's referee math. It's referee math.
That's why I wasn't an umpire.
I told ref there would be no math here, so you can't fault the math.
Yeah, it should be 17 crews. There's 17 crews.
Indeed. Okay. All right, good stuff, ref. As always, I appreciate you clearing that up. Does anybody have any more questions for ref before we move on?
Did we get anything in the chat?
We got a lot in the chat.
Well, I meant as far as flags.
All right. No, they just piggyback on what we're talking about in regards to the calls that were made. I think those are 2 hot button issues: the safety, the Isaiah likely catch, and the turnover, the non-turnover with Rodgers. Yeah, I think we covered it all. But anybody in the chat has any questions before the ref gets out of here, please put it in the chat now.
Fire away.
Yeah, fire away.
I will say we did get a little transparency in that safety call overturn, and that they did later show us the clip that benefited them overturning the call.
Of course, yeah.
Because I think in our chat when the clip they were showing, I was like, I don't know how the hell they called that not a safety, and then like 2 plays ran, and they're like, actually, here's the clip from New York that shows it wasn't. And I'm like, oh well, at least they showed something to back up their work, I guess.
Anything to cover their own ass.
They say, show your work in school, show your work.
They got people at a 3-letter agency that I won't mention that can make any picture work.
Oh yeah, it's all a deep fake, right? That's what they were buying time for.
Well, AI does that now. So.
Hey, Gemini, give me a video that's not a safety.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
The good news was the game wasn't a 2-point game. So at the end of the day, at the time, obviously nobody knows how the game's going to come out. And you don't really want that to be controversial.
But it could have been a 12-point game.
It wasn't really an issue, but you'd still like to have it right either way.
I would have lost either way, so there you go.
I'm sure there's some fantasy teams out there that were disappointed. They
I'm absolutely sure they're mad about that. Indeed. Absolutely.
Listen, hey, if people are out there playing the Cowboys or the Lions defense,
yeah,
give what you deserve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get what you get.
Their destiny was already written. All right.
There you go. Okay. All right. If there ain't no more questions for Ref, man, we're gonna move on, and we, as always, we appreciate him coming through and give us this insight on the nuances of the NFL referee or the life of that particular occupation. Although it is not a full-time position, that we let people know that it is not a NFL full-time position. They are contracted out, so there's that. But as always, man, ladies and gentlemen, our good guy, Ref Guru. All right, good sir. We will see you down the road.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get into some headlines.
Hit Squad headlines.
All right, so the NFL Week 14 is in the books, and like we alluded to at the top of the show, we're looking towards some things starting to filter out. The cream is starting to rise in your coffee cups now. Things are starting to show. Hopefully that we can kind of hang our hats on the idea that this is going to be the norm going forward. So there's an interesting thing going on in the AFC that I want to talk about. And I want to know, based upon what things are, where they are in the landscape now, do we feel like that there's a changing of the guard in the AFC? We have the New England Patriots, who nobody had winning the division in the start of the season. We got, I don't know what's going on in the AFC North. We got the Jaguars leading the AFC South, and the Broncos are leading the AFC West, which everybody...
I called that!
Would you let me finish? I was just going to say that. Let me finish my rant, okay? Everybody besides Cat didn't have the Broncos taking the AFC West at this particular point in the season. So, and then we're going to do this debate style. So I'm going to pick a person to lead the charge and how they feel about it, and then we'll debate the person's quote unquote take on it. So we'll start with Young RG. When it comes down to the AFC, do you feel like there's a changing of the guard when it comes down to the landscape of it as it is? And do you think there's going to be a staying power here? Do you think the Broncos, the Patriots, and Jaguars, even the Texans to a degree, do you think that they're kind of starting to change the things or change the landscape in the AFC? Do you think there is a shift in power here?
Yeah, I think it's a slight shift in power. I'm not ready to, admit, the big four, if you would say, they're completely out of it and done. I think it's just, a down year for a couple of teams. Obviously, we talked about the AFC North a little bit. But I also think it's just kind of there's just way more talent in the NFL than we've seen kind of ever before. A lot of these first round picks at QBs, especially, a lot of them I don't want to say have panned out, but I mean, like you mentioned, all those top teams, Patriots, Jags, we're not really going to talk about the AFC North, and the Broncos, they all have, first round picks at QBs, and the Jags had the number 1 overall pick. So I think it's just a matter of, like you said, this is kind of like the argument back to, should you start, a first round pick QB top 10 pick right away, or do you kind of let them, ride the bench for a little bit and learn? I think you're kind of seeing the learning process. Trevor Lawrence had his kind of highs, and then it came down really low. New head coach comes in, they really turn things around there. Broncos have always had a very talented defense, very well coached defense, and Bo Nix, for whatever you think about him, they're winning games, and ultimately that's all you could ask for of your quarterback. Are you winning the games that are put out in front of you? And then the Patriots, I mean, Drake May is in top 3, top 2 maybe in MVP consideration. Also another stellar defense there, great head coach. I mean, I think it's just a kind of, we're shifting into teams starting to kind of get a little bit of a playbook, if you want to say, on these, playoff teams that have just been going there every year. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Bills, things like that. Not to say that they're completely out of it, but I just think we're entering kind of the twilight zone in a sense of, like you mentioned, we knew nothing about this year until this week. We've started to finally learn some things, right. And I just think, with injuries, coaching changes, things like that, there's always going to be a slight shift. And I saw a comment earlier talking about the Chiefs dynasty. I don't necessarily think the dynasty is over just because of a potential missed playoff run with Mahomes, but you have to, give them their respect. You have to give the teams that have won consistently and regularly their respect. It's why nobody's really gone off the Ravens yet, as bad as they've looked. Lamar has earned that right in, being a multi-MVP winner, to kind of give them some grace. But hey, man, it's a young man's game, and these young QBs, man, they're stepping up and they're making plays.
Okay. Well, for me, to be honest with you, to start off the I guess you can say the back and forth in regards to this topic, I think that it is more of a staying power in this shift, to be honest, because if you look at all the dynamics to I guess you can say the top 4 that we normally are used to seeing in the playoffs, like I said, your Josh Allen's, your Lamar Jackson's, your Joe Burrow's, your Patrick Mahomes, and all of them outside of maybe Josh Allen is seriously in danger of not making the playoffs this year. But I also don't think it's a quick fix in a sense, because if you look at each dynamic real quick, just a high level view, the Bills have real big time problems on defense. And no matter who they bring in, even with a defensive minded head coach, they still haven't, they've actually regressed defense in the last 2 years rather than progress. And they've got good players. They brought in your Maxwell Harrisons, they've got Milano back. I know Ed Oliver's out on injury now. They brought in
Benford.
Brentford. They got good players. They just seem to be regressing defensively, and that for me is a red flag from the coaching perspective. So we could be looking at a situation. We talked about this. McDermott might be coaching for his job this year, depending on what they do. So that's one thing. Joe Burrow's situation, they're really top heavy from a money perspective with their top 3 dogs, with their 2 receivers and Joe Burrow. So that limits your ability to build your team around them, your O-line, your defense as a whole. So you have to get really, really savvy about hitting with your draft picks. You got to do what the Rams do. Get really, really savvy, hit on all your draft picks. And I can't see they've really done that just yet. A lot of draft picks haven't panned out. They've done well. They did better this year, but that's just 1 year. You need 2 or 3 drafts that really hit on these draft picks. You're paying the top dollar to your quarterback and your receivers. So then there's that. I don't know what the hell's going on in Baltimore. I think we might be looking at things there. They got all the tools and all the weapons outside of maybe our true number one receiver, which they never have had. Derrick Henry's aging. Again, they're paying Lamar top dollar as well, and he's due for another extension here soon.
Yep.
So you're still dealing with that. And I think the theme here is that all the teams that we normally are used to being in the playoffs, they are paying their quarterbacks. So you really are, I want to say cash strapped, but you really have to be, diligent in who you put around them, and it has to be on the lower end from a money perspective. You've got to hit on these draft picks. You got to bring your free agents in key positions that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg. So you can't go after the top dogs, and every time a free agency cycle comes around, so you got to be, savvy about that. And then, coming around to the Chiefs, I'll let Alex more speak to this because he's more versed in it. But just from my high level view, they're paying Mahomes. Kelsey's getting old. O-line is banged up. The tackles are, a young ascending one they finally hit on. They're still not sure what they're doing with the left guard. And Juwan Taylor's a train wreck. We've already talked about that. So you got a lot to fix there. And McDuffie's coming up soon, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, for a contract series. You got to figure out if you're going to pay him or not. So there's a lot. There's no quick fixes here. So you could see the Drake Mays, who's on a rookie deal, the Bo Nix is on a rookie deal. That kind of avenue be the staple for the next 2 to 3 years because you don't have to pay them for 3. You got 2 more years and the 5th year options before you have to consider paying them top dollar. So I would say that this could be a 2 to 3 year window where these guys are going to run the ship. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is too, especially like with the Patriots case, they have such a easy schedule, and I get it. You play who's in front of you, but I think we can really have like a solid understanding of this next season, like midway through next season, because you got to give these other coaches in defense, once you have a lot of film on you and coaches start to see what your tendencies are and where you like to go and things like that. It's all about making adjustments. And I think that's why, for the Chiefs, Ravens, although they are having down years right now, and the Bills maybe not so much, but, they're used to winning the division. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, changing up things and handling the adversity that's getting thrown at you. I think, like, not even trying to be a homer here, but I think the Chargers are a great example. You look at the coaching switch from Brandon Staley to Jim Harbaugh. I mean, the difference is night and day. This team is insanely banged up, and they are still 9-4, which is something that you wouldn't even ever expect from a Staley-led team fully healthy. So right. I think it's just a lot of coaching changes there. There's been massive coaching changes at all those teams that you mentioned. The Jags got a new head coach, Chargers and Broncos are in a little bit of a different case. Chargers more recently, but Sean Payton was an established man. He just needed to get his quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Okay. All right. Does anybody want to add or refute what we've talked about here so far?
I'd like to add something with that. Just from my take, it's that old term that we hear as football guys, that parity within the league. And it's a balancing act. Like you say, you've got an older squad or paid quarterbacks that affects everything else down the line. And that's where the business comes in. It's got nothing to do with fandom. That's straight business. And you've got to go look for sales when you've got to pay your quarterback and say a wide receiver or your left tackle. You've got to go wholesale on those other positions. So you send other teams going young because, like RG said, it's a young man's game. These teams are getting younger, faster, and they can operate cheaper. So that's what we're seeing right now. So the old guards, they've got to go through that, turning the dirt over again and kind of getting there, retooling. I won't say rebuilding, but
I like
retooling.
That. I like that. Yeah, retooling is a great word to use, Violet, a great word. Yeah, so, but again, how long is the retooling going to happen while these guys are still getting better? I'm going to use the Patriots as another example. You got a young quarterback who was in MVP conversation. You're not paying them. You spend all this money, in free agency, and you hit on your draft picks. So you're going to grow. They're all going to grow together and get better as the next 2 to 3 years goes on before they even come up to be paid. So you looking at a situation where they should the Patriots, the Broncos, and teams of that nature, of that ilk, are going to get better. So they're not going to be stagnant and just wait for you to catch up. They're going to keep climbing. So that's my concern about the guard change. But Dub, do you got anything to add to this in this conversation?
No, the only thing I was going to touch on, which you guys pretty much alluded to, but I think there's more so a shift in the style of play and the focus. Whereas, you kind of alluded to it, but teams are no longer really investing in, I won't say they're not investing in their quarterbacks, but they're more so investing in their defense. And the one trend that you see with the teams that are rising to the top is dominating defense. So, this is the thing about football is, you could bring in ticket sales, you could bring in media, you could bring in all the Amazon and all the points and try to shift the game towards offense all you want. But since the beginning of the time, the one thing that stays consistent is defense wins championships.
Yep.
So eventually defenses are going to catch up. Eventually coordinators are going to scheme and they're going to do whatever they need to do to compete against your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen's, your Lamar Jackson. So now that these defenses, these teams have spent 3 or 4 years investing in those defenses, investing in edge rushers, investing in dominating shutdown corners and athletic safeties and things like that. Now they're finally caught up to them and they can compete. So I think that's the shift is where the focus is. If you don't get a chance to land that generational quarterback, the next best thing is not to pay, a quarterback in hopes that he becomes a generational quarterback. The next best thing is you invest in that defense, right? Because also if you have a strong unit in defense, you're less susceptible to that season-ending injury that just throws your whole, camaraderie off. You look at the Bengals, where if they would have spent that money on their defense and, somebody would have got hurt, they would have been able to adjust a little bit better. So I think that's the shift that we're seeing. Of course, the Texans have been able to keep their head above water with that defense. The Broncos have been able to do the same. The Jaguars, all across the board. So that's the shift that I'm seeing. And I think that's, like you said, that's sustainable. So one thing since the beginning of time of football, defense, run the ball. Ironically, the NFC is running the football. The best teams are the teams that can run the football. So I think that's the shift that we're seeing across the NFL.
I like it. Okay. Alex, what did you got on this topic? You got anything to add, or you pretty much in line with everybody else what they say?
Well,
I mean, oh yeah.
I got you.
No, I mean, I think at least in terms of the AFC, I mean, I wouldn't really say it's a changing of the guard per se, but I think that the AFC is going to be a lot more competitive in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Whereas if you kind of look at the last 5, it seemed to be the same 4 teams always winning their division, the same 1 or 2 being the wild card and then one surprising team out of the South or something like that. And, kind of like what Viola said, there's more parity in the AFC. There's more equal matchups across the board. And I think just in turn, it's going to make for a lot more entertaining football. I mean, I will push back and that I don't think it's necessarily there's as many fixes that the Chiefs need to make as you kind of alluded to and lumping them in with the Bengals and Ravens.
I wasn't lumping them in. I was just giving them their own set of problems.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, they definitely got problems. They got to figure it out. But I still think that they're, like kind of, I think Navman said it earlier. I mean, people are all calling for the dynasty to be over. I don't think that they're going to be out of, competitive realm, just because they don't make the playoffs this year. So, but, especially those other teams in the North, the Bengals and the Ravens. I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions with them. The Bills, like we'll see what their defense does with the playoffs. But I mean, you look at the AFC East is going to be super competitive as long as they got a cheap Drake May and, that team, and Miami's still kind of somehow hanging around too. And who knows what they can do in years to come. And then the AFC West is obviously like going to be pretty bloodbathy for the next few years as well.
Okay. All right, Cap, you got anything to rebut on this particular topic of the AFC changing of the guard?
In my best Pacino. Oh, I'm just getting started. I had to throw that. I just thought of it. First off, I'm not going to throw dirt on Kermit and those boys yet. Okay, they had an off year. They need help on the O-line, big time.
Oh yeah,
we need help on it. We being the royal we of myself and Violator.
The only team in the AFC that don't need help on O-line is the damn Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm gonna throw some gloss your way there, Coach. The Garglers. Yes, I said that. I have to. They did it right. They got Alt and Slater or Slater. Who's the guy?
Slater.
Yes.
Yeah, they're injured, but they did it right. They got 2 bookend tackles, and they had a decent guard. And then everything went when they left, right? Because the backup that they had in there. Oh my God! If you have like Pipkins in there, and then you have to put in Andre James. My God, you're just asking for getting your butt kicked, okay?
I would take Andre James in a second over Bradley Bozeman.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Well,
there is literally a clip from the Eagles game yesterday where he has Nakobe Dean free rushing right up the middle, and he just looks the other way, completely leaves an open. You saw that?
And don't leave out the fact that both D tackles were lined up on the outside shoulder of the guard, so he had nobody to block. But he turned completely to his left and let him to the right.
Well, if Jalen Carter had been in that game, there might have been like 10 sacks on Herbert.
And by the way, I got a chance to watch most of that game flying home, and I'm like, and the only reason why, well, not the only reason why, like, because I don't like the Los Angeles team. I'll just say that is that I had my friend would have won like about a $900 bet on the parlay had the Eagles covered 3. And I felt bad for her because she like threw in like, what was it, like a $20 on a 14 parlay, would have hit for 900 and something. And all they needed was the Eagles to win by 3. My God. So I felt bad for her. And of course, with you guys winning, it's like, sucks. But anyway, I would say that the Mahomes and the ketchup and mustard crew, they're not out. They just had an off year, but everybody is looking to get stronger. Sure. If the Raiders do the draft and free agency, because it's a process. If the Raiders do the draft and free agency correctly and get rid of somebody at the top of the head coaching ranks and take his 2 flunky nitwits with him, then the Raiders can turn around in 1 year. They can do what the Patriots did. They can do what all these other offshoot teams have done, go from like worst to contender, at least into a playoff portion. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the blueprint is there. Great defense. Make sure you're freaking, and I said freaking, I said the right words. Music man's over here. That's why I have that song in my head. They're doing it the right way. Okay. So the flip flop of the AFC is not necessarily, throw dirt on Mahomes. I'd love to, but it's not going to happen. And for the Bills are kind of like, I don't know what's going on with the Bills. They're hurting in the wrong spots. So it's just a unique year, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, listen, we don't all have to agree, but again, I'm just looking, I'm looking at the forest through the trees, in a sense where I think there may be what's happening, what's percolating in the sense what comes out to the AFC. So we'll see. We will see, because most people say the blueprint is, you hit on your generational quarterback in the draft and you don't have to pay him for 4 years. Build around them, spend all that money, build all the talent around them, and go all in and see what happens. So, because even the Texans, to me, they're doing it. They see their Stroud's not up for contract yet. I think he's 2 years out still, so they got 2 more goes at it before he has to be paid. So, that's another conversation, because that defense is scary. I don't want to. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that in 3 weeks. To be honest with you, as a Chargers fan, I'm just not.
Nope.
So,
I am. That's the only thing I'm counting on.
That's just terrible. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Okay.
Hey, the Eagles got a bye this week, and then next week the Texans got a bye. You can't beat having an extra bye afforded to you on the schedule on a home game. That's just
wait. You guys still haven't played the Texans yet?
No.
And
I'm
going to get murdered.
Front and center, front row, like I saw all the front row for every time we got our butt. I'm keeping it light, Coach. Our butt whooped. I was front row in DC. I was front row in Kansas City. I was front row in Indianapolis. Now I'm going to be front row in Houston to watch a severe arse whooping.
You like punishment. Sorry.
No, I'm not a masochist. I just thought we'd be a little bit better this year.
That's respect. Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. So let's flow it over to the NFC real quick. Let's talk about some things going on in the Pacific Northwest. So there is some conversation brewing about the NFC West. I'm always stuck on the AFC West. NFC West. The Rams are clearly the cream of the crop. They bounced back this week in glowing fashion. They look, like the team we thought they were a couple of weeks ago. But there's a team that's nipping at their heels in Seattle. So could we be talking about a conversation where we might be sleeping in Seattle? Are we sleeping on the fact that Seattle can really be a threat here? The defense is playing lights out. If Sam Darnold doesn't get in your way and throw 4 picks a game, they look formidable. So if you can keep him from doing that, save him for himself, they look like a problem. So I'm gonna start with Dub on this one. Do we feel like we're sleeping in Seattle? Can they, quote unquote, get in, without paying in the club, just sneaking in through the backstage area? Could they walk
the back door? Not the back door, the backstage.
I didn't say the back door. I said backstage, and I did it on purpose. I don't want to get anybody riled up. So I said do the backstage area without paying. Can they sneak into the party without paying and maybe upset some folks? What do you think, Doug?
I think so. I think they have a pedigree. Of course, the question is Sam Darnold. The answer to that is going to have to be the run game. If they can stay consistent, they get the two-headed monster with Caleb Walker and Charbonnet. Of course, that's going to open up things with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So if they can have a good balanced offensive attack, I think it's possible. How about Nick Imamari?
You were big on that, dude.
That's my guy.
I remember.
He's a difference. Yeah, he's a difference maker.
Let me guess. It's a fantasy football dude.
Defense is safety. Defense don't even use them in fantasy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We use IDPs.
But I digress. I apologize for being incorrect. Every time
wipe that egg off your face, Cap.
No, that ain't egg, and don't go there anymore. But no, I'm just saying.
Whoa. Wow. But listen.
Good girl. But anyway, go ahead, Coach Dub.
But yeah, listen, I mean, he's been great. I was big on him coming into the draft. I wanted him in Washington. We passed on him. Seattle was able to nab him up, and he's been a difference maker. They've been slowly but steady building up that defense to be competitive and force a lot of turnovers. But of course, like I said, it's really going to come down to Sam Darnold. I think that they can make some noise. I think that they can upset some people and getting the chance to really give themselves a shot. That's really all it takes. At this point, it looks like they're going to have at least one home game in Seattle, probably, possibly, depending on, how things shake up with the rest of the NFC West. But I think that they can compete with the Rams, which puts them in the cream of the crop with the NFC. I think that anything can happen. Of course, the number one is they have to stay healthy, and I think their best bet is to get that running game going, make sure that they're consistent with it so that they can keep teams guessing, because obviously Jackson Smith and Jigba is a playmaker. They're going to shift their focus to him, go too high, do whatever they need to do, which is going to open up different avenues for them. So as long as they can stay consistent, as long as they can stay healthy and not turn the ball over, I think they definitely have a shot.
Okay. I like it. Because it's funny, you might have heard me when I said this, but I was saying that, their offense seems to be stuck in neutral, and the defense has been carrying them for the large, parts of, this last stretch of the season, especially after that loss to the Rams a few weeks ago. But then, lo and behold, he picked it up and started, get the offense going in the second half in the game over the weekend. So it just depends on, to me, whether or not he can continue to do that. Is he going to be consistent? Because now I guess you can say the narrative on him is he kind of flounders or kind of fades at the back end of the season. Like, he starts off hot. He did it in Minnesota. He did it in Seattle. Now he's kind of fading, and he doesn't finish the season well. So if he can shake that narrative, man, it's a big hit for me. But if he can shake that narrative, I think that he could definitely be a threat to the NFC as a whole. I think that that defense can put them in a conversation with the Packers and the Rams for me. It's just a matter of what their offense looks like. Because, like I said, he didn't throw 4 picks in the Rams game. We can call it like it is. They could win that game. But those 4 picks would have decided factor because it was a tight game. I think it was a 1-possession game.
Yep.
So I would say that, so if he doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, hey. But if it must be nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas. So you still got to get it done.
It was even the same case when they played the Bucks. 4 touchdown game, driving down last, and he threw a pick at the end. Yep. And so it's just those moments. That's the biggest thing for me with the Seahawks too. I mean, I'm sure we all agree with that. Sam Darnold, it just when the moment is bright, when you're in position to get your team a win, can you make the plays that your team needs for the win? And multiple times this season, week 1 against the Niners, I don't know what week it was against the Bucks, and then like you mentioned that Rams game, he's just at those moments when they need him most, and you could even date it back to Minnesota last year, he flounders.
Yeah, that's my issue. That's my issue. So you shake that narrative, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical.
Happy for him.
That's what I was going to add. That I think the Seahawks can do damage in the playoffs, but I don't think they're winning the NFC West. because the Rams have Matt Stafford, who has not thrown an interception in, I don't know, a very effing long time.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Darnold's going to get in the way of that. But you talk about them as a wild card in the playoffs with that defense. I think can make some noise in that regard, but I don't see him beating the Rams to win the West.
Yeah, when the proverbial rubber meets the road, when it comes down to playing the Packers or the Rams, even the 49ers to a degree, you can say that they got to get it done. Mm-hmm. They got to get it done. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, we'll see.
I just want to address this comment real quick. No, you can't. Herbert is second in game-winning drives behind only Mahomes since entering the league. He's clutch. His defense hasn't been. He's got like a 27-10 record or something like that when his defense allows 27 points or less. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and watch this slander about. Don't you dare compare Herbert to Sam Darnold. It's not even close.
Yeah, well, if you're going to go there, we can say that Derek Carr was a fantastic quarterback had he had a defense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought Derek Carr was a fine quarterback. I completely agree with that sentiment.
All right, I just want to get that out there. Not that I'm a Carr lover, but I just wanted to say if you're going to go there, go here.
Yeah, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a Kardashian, not a Kardashian.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kardashian.
Right, that's funny. Okay,
that is a thing.
Yeah, I heard. That's why I said that. I heard. Okay. The Violator Cap, you got anything to add on this particular topic about Seattle?
I'm just going to say that Seattle, you can sleep on Seattle if you want to, and any team as far as that goes. There are players that are closers. When the going gets tough, they just do their job, as Bill Belichick used to say. They just do their job. And then you've got other guys who, like we mentioned in Sam Darnold, who have crumbled under the hot lights. So it's like I say, that's why we watch the games, because we can't predict anything.
True. That's true.
I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't realize you. Seriously, I didn't realize you were coming in at that beat. But I just would like to tell Seattle that, God, they were correct when they let a family. Well, no. They were correct with the coaching, and they were correcting in letting a quarterback go. God, swindling. I would just say,
Pete. Okay, I was wondering, we were going with this. Okay, I was wondering. Okay, all right. Okay.
Pete Carroll, Coach, come on now, and it's and Tweedledee and Tweedledum that are on the coaching staff that are nepotism family members, and then Gino would be a lot better if he had an O-line. I would say that.
That's true.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Once a player becomes shell shocked, that's hard. You can't go through concussion protocol to get rid of that.
That's fact.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Stays with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's why
Seeing
David
ghosts
Carr,
does not go
David
away.
Carr was David Carr was out of the league in a couple years because he
Yeah.
had no line.
Yeah.
That part. Seeing ghosts does not go away with a concussion. You're right about
Yeah,
that.
don't go away. Nope.
That doesn't go away. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, all right. Any final remarks on the Seattle Seahawks before we move on?
Let them sleep.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good one. That's a good way to end it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. All right. So let's move on down the line. Let's talk about another segment here. We're going to do I guess you can call it a rolling segment. We're talking about rises and fallers. So there's a stock up, stock down, rising, falling moment happening in the NFL. In regards to who we thought were going to be at the top of the food chain and who wasn't coming into the season. So we can go around the room. Give you a quick maybe one or two AFC and NFC guys that you are the rising and falling in your eyes and why. Let's start with AG on this one. Who you have on your list that are quote unquote teams that are rising or falling as the season comes to a close, whereas down to 4 games left?
Yeah, I think the most apparent riser, at least in the AFC, has got to be the Houston Texans at this point. We've already spent some time talking about how dirty their defense is. They've won, 5 straight games now. Just beat.
Dirty sounds wrong.
Yeah, I was going to jump on that. It's not dirty when they kick your butt. Come on.
Well, okay, whatever. It's a slang.
How about
they have an elite defense, an elite pass rush. They've won 5 straight games and have a pretty favorable rest of the way schedule. Maybe outside of your Chargers matchup. So they're definitely on the rise. In terms of the AFC. I think the rising team, and I won't take one just for other people in here, but I think I think the NFC. I think you got to call the Bears risers at this point. I mean, even though they're up at the top and kind of have been, they've continued. I mean, we've kind of at different times of this year said it's going to go away like that. Well, how they're winning games isn't sustainable. It's not going to happen, and they keep finding ways to win games with the crazy score differential that they have in it, and they're right in the thick of it. So I think you got to call them risers too.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Captain Jack, who you have in your list from an AFC or NFC perspective? Who you think is going to rise in quote unquote or fall in the next couple of weeks here as we round out the season?
Well, first off, thanks to Napman for throwing $5 my way. I have to say that anybody that puts money in the till, I appreciate that. JC or CJ did that earlier too. I wasn't running the board, so I didn't get a chance to put them on. But thank you. And this is great shows. Make sure you hit the Lockdown Blitz channel. Coach will hopefully put it up so my viewers can see it. Great channel. You can see all of his stuff like fantasy football stuff. We'll get back to that later. See, hey, I give you some gloss, man. I'm your ad man. I'm there for you, Coach.
You're down for the cause. We got you.
Damn right. You throw some money my way. Anyway, thing is that for the risers, I just love it when the fact that the Texans they got a quote unquote dirty, but that dirty defense is just diabolically, deviantly dynastic. How's that? How's that? Some alliteration.
Triple D's, huh?
Yeah, I like triple D's.
We all do. Dives, baby.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't like triple D's, man? But the thing is that. But they're not dirty though. They're hard hitting. The only dirty guy on that defense is probably the linebacker that always gets himself in trouble. That I will give.
Al Shazier,
who's up for Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Right.
He's the Walter Payton Guy of the Year. My God.
Oh, the irony.
Right.
That's a PR move for sure on their part.
No, he actually does really good work in the community, to be honest.
And to gloss over what he does on the field, I'll give him that as well. But no, that's a fantastic D, and they can go far in the playoffs. Obviously, the Pats have made a dynamic turnaround, but I should say I'm gonna go this. I saw that coming with the getting the right coaches in there, and turning it around. Although I think that, and I will say this again, Jared Mayo got screwed over on a 1-year thing because they were moving him out to get to Vrabel. I will stand on that. He got screwed over, and I hope that, I'm not sure where he's at, but I hope he gets picked up by somebody. Fantastic young mind. In the NFC, hey, don't sleep on Carolina either. I know that they got some. Oh, did I take it from you, RG? Hell,
you did.
I'm sorry. Hey, I don't. Hey, it's not scripted. It's not scripted. Go ahead, brother. I knew you were gonna. Did you lock up? I got him so befuddled he got locked up. Okay. Anyway, yeah. See. Don't mess with the old man. You're gonna lock up your screen. Okay. Anyway. And by the way, CJ just subbed over there to you, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Carolina, I don't know what the rest of their schedule is. I'm not sure, but they're and I tell you, RG. I want to make sure I got my G's correct because you can't blow a G. Anyway,
wow.
Pause.
Wow.
I don't know what their schedule is, but they might be able, because again, the fake Pirates. Oh, and I love it when the fake Pirates lose. So everybody was so high on them in the beginning. I can't wait to go into Publix here and just snicker at all of the fake Pirate fans when it comes down to playoff time and laugh hysterically where they're going to have some guy get me with a wraparound white was it white
Straight
coat?
Straight jacket.
Thank you, a straight jacket. See, Violator knows where I've been before. There you go.
Well,
not true, but I figured I'd play along. But there you go. So, right, like I said, obviously the Texans with the triple D's, and then you got the Panthers as well. Sorry, RG, I didn't need to trip you up, brother.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Violator, who you got on your docket? Who's rising to fall? Any differences in the guys that have been listed so far?
I'm going to kind of piggyback, and I'm going to at the same time reach for some low-hanging fruit. Okay. I'm going to take NFC Seattle. We just finished talking about people sleeping on them. Right. They've got too much, what's that called, sleepies. And AFC, of course, I'm going to go with the Patriots because that quick turnaround that they did with the coaching staff and even bringing McDaniels back in there, he looks like a freaking genius. Those two teams are the ones to watch because they can knock anybody out at any time.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Dub, what you got over there? You got anything brewing other than what the guys are listed so far?
I mean, of course, all the ones that everybody's mentioned. Two teams I'm going to say keep an eye on for risers. Ironically, both of them are battling through injuries and are playing surprisingly, pretty decent. And I would say on the NFC side is San Francisco. They're a team that I think we could definitely see them making some noise. Of course, they got some divisional opponents that they play well against. I think they play Seattle the last game of the season. They have Tennessee and they also have Chicago. So how they do against Chicago, how they do against Seattle at the end of the season can tell a lot about where they could possibly be. Of course, if they can dodge the annual Christian McCaffrey injury, then they should be all right. Of course, like I said, I can't give enough credit to that organization and to that coaching staff because every year it seems like we're talking about the 49ers being a potential, at least somebody that can shake up things. If they're not a favorite, then they're somewhere in that mix. And this year, missing their top guys, rebuilding that defense, and they're still right in the thick of the thing. So I definitely would say them in the NFC. And in the AFC, I would keep an eye on the Chargers, to be honest. So you guys are just, you're fighting, you're competing. That's that hardball mentality. I think it's starting to show in the culture. And another team that's really fighting back and fighting through injuries, and you just make it tough for anybody to want to play them. It's one of those teams where you just hate to see them on a schedule because you're going to get there all, and that's really all you can ask for at this time of the year. So, of course, these are teams that can run the ball. You guys, we already know how horrible thinks and things like that. And at this time of the year, those are the teams that have the best mindset and the best chance of making some noise in the playoffs. So those are definitely some teams that I would keep an eye on. And I would say their stock is probably rising going into December and possibly January months.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And one just caveat that I will say that I don't think that they are a playoff team, so I didn't want to mention them, but I got to give them credit because they've quietly turned their season around. Is the Dolphins? They've been winning some games, and they're, you know what I mean, like. And it really doesn't mean anything because they're not going to do anything, but they're just not doing anything but giving themselves a harder draft pick. But I got to give them credit. We kicked their back in when they looked like the worst thing in the NFL early in the season. It looked like Mike McDonald wasn't going to, make it around the corner, let alone to this part of the season. And they've turned it around. They started winning some games.
He said, "Hold my bait."
Yeah. Really. So I didn't want to be unfair and kick them back in when they were down and not give them credit for what are they on, like a 4-game winning streak. And yeah. So they're 6-7. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs either. So
6-7. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I just wanted to, I don't know if there's any Dolphins fans out there, but I wanted to be fair and say that, hey, they're on the rise. They're winning. We'll see if it means anything. I doubt it, but congrats, I guess.
And their schedule, to be honest, I mean, they got 4 games left. If they ended up 10-7, is that not?
They would need the Texans, Chargers, and or Buffalo to just completely fall off the face of the earth.
Correct. Yeah, they got the Steelers, the Bengals, the Buccaneers, and the Patriots at the end of the season. The Patriots could be resting guys by week 18.
Oh yeah,
Not impossible.
Listen, as long as they got a mathematical chance.
They do. They're not mathematically limited. You're right. Yeah.
There's a chance.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I was gonna give him some grace as well. I'm glad you said it before, so I don't have to. I'm glad you said it, but yeah, I was gonna give him some grace as a team that despite all the turmoil and the firings of the GM and all that, still managed to win some games. So yeah, I agree with you there. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, RG, what you got over there? You got anything outside of what Cap stole from you? Your hot take of the day?
Hey, he deserved
it. I got some backups here.
Okay.
For followers in the AFC, I got to go with Indianapolis, and that's probably the lowest hanging fruit out of all these followers. It's so brutal with the injuries and
Philip Rivers take a snap. I'm sorry, RG. I just had to.
I don't because I want him to be Hall of Fame eligible, and if he takes a snap, he resets that 5-year timer that they got to wait for.
And that's another reason why too.
I think he saw Matt Stafford inching a little too close to his career passing yard numbers and said, "We got to beef these up."
You got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, he ain't gonna beef them up in playing for Indy because they're gonna be feeding the ball to Taylor all the time.
Yeah, that part.
I mean, look at the schedule that the Colts have to finish out the year.
It's murder's row. Outside of us, they got the toughest one.
It's absolutely brutal. You got 2 division games against the I'm sorry, 3 division. No, you're on my bad. 2 divisional games to end your year against Jacksonville and Houston. Brutal, tough defenses, and then you got Seattle and the Niners in these back-to-back weeks.
Oh yeah,
all 4 of those teams are just dominant on defense.
Joe Montana in here, and they're losing those games.
It'll be coaching malpractice if they bring Rivers in this week against Seattle. He is going to get destroyed, and I feel awful for him. Obviously, longtime Charger, so I got nothing but love for Phil Riv. But man, don't get my grandpa killed, man.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
So yeah, I got Colts as the fallers in the AFC, and then directly contrast to that, as far as risers, I mean, you got to give the Jags love, man. I mean, that defense has been stringing some games together. I mean, T-Law has been as much to my chagrin, just like, coach didn't want to talk about the Dolphins. I really don't want to have to give Trevor Lawrence any credit, but he's been playing well these past couple of weeks. He hasn't been turning the ball over. He's been making good throws downfield. The running game is obviously as good as ever with Tootin and ETN. So yeah, man, I think them and the Texans. That's going to be a really hard fought battle for the division, and it's going to be some good football that we're watching there out of the AFC South. Finally, took how many years for the AFC South to be competitive?
Right.
But yeah, and then for the NFC, man, NFC is tough, but I feel like I feel a little bit comfortable in saying this. Fall off, and I'm gonna echo what Captain Jack said. It's got to be the Bucs, man. I mean that downfall that they've had after starting, what was it, 6-2, and now they're 7-6. Man, that's brutal. And the worst part is for them, you would think after that hot start they'd have the division kind of locked up. The Panthers are right on their heels, man. I never thought it would be the Panthers, but they are right there, and that you got 2 divisional games coming up against them to finish out your year. Must win games for them. And I know Cap doesn't want to see them do good, and I'm a Baker fan, so I'm a little bit impartial. I also have the Panthers winning that division since the start of the year. That was one of my hot takes, so kind of rooting against them.
In case you're wondering, this is a round of applause.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Stand up, RG. Take
They
it
do get
down.
Mike Evans back likely this week. They do get Mike Evans back this week, so their receiver core is going to be whole. And for my fantasy selfishness, hope that it means more targets.
You're triggering Cap.
There's the word.
Luka,
Aha! 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 Gotta drop an FF. Aha!
That's right. So yes, hopefully America Booker gets more targets. Being a big Mike Evans is going to be on the field now. So yes, outside of that though, I'm looking at the
Big Boo.
Yeah, right. A big boo, according to Gronk. So, yeah, but the Panthers are going to have to earn it because they got a brutal schedule too. Coming down the stretch, so if they get into the playoffs or win a division, they're going to earn it. But I think they got to win a division or to get in because I think the North and the West are too good, and they're going to get 2 to 3 teams in from both of those divisions in order for them to quote unquote make room for them in the playoffs. So I don't think wild card is a possibility. I think you got to win a division. So you got to take it from the Bucs. You got to take it from the Bucs. And then they got Jason Pierre-Paul back this week. He come out of retirement. What is that about?
The 4-finger monster.
Is everybody deciding today it's getting cold outside and they don't want to be in the house with their wife, so they go back and play football again? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, sugar boom! Where's the rim shot? Where's the boom 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 boom?
Yeah, is that what we're doing? Because Philip decided he didn't want to be home with the grandkid and all the other kids, and Jason Pierre-Paul didn't get sick of his wife, and Brandon Graham went back to the Eagles.
His extra 2 fingers.
You know what?
Damn.
Yeah. Yep. We're an hour in. Okay, we're good. All right, but anyhow, yes, I think that that's a good one. But the Panthers will have to earn it. Yeah, I definitely think the Buccaneers are on the brink. They'll have to get right now. If not, then they're going to be it could be sitting home. in all honesty, they could be sitting home. Yep. For sure. What has me on my my interesting meter for NFC? I wouldn't count because especially since the Eagles lost, I wouldn't count the Cowboys out. To be honest, I mean they're in our way, so I hope that they don't make the playoffs. But from the Chargers perspective, but they got a couple of cake games. Sorry, but they had the Commanders twice.
But
my bad. But
he didn't say sorry. Like I said, sorry to Alex earlier today.
Said with all due respect.
Right.
That doesn't mean you can say whatever the hell you want, Ricky.
Right. So yes, but yeah, I think the Chargers game. I think the Cowboys have an outside chance too, depending on what the Eagles do, especially. So if they sneak off and close that gap, then we could be talking about them as well. So that's a sneaky one too. But what was the team I wanted to do? So what do y'all guys feel about the AFC North? Is it an argument to say that no matter who gets out in AFC North, they're one and done? Is that a consensus?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only team out of the AFC North that has somewhat of a chance to win a playoff game is obviously the Ravens. But with the way they've been going, and it's a big butt, and I know we all like big butts here.
Yeah, there you go. I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
Ain't lie.
So that's the only way the AFC North sees a playoff win is if the Ravens sneak in.
I like it. Okay, good stuff. All right. So any go backs, any callbacks that you might have thought about while we were talking before we move on?
I think the Packers are a sneaky good team. I don't want to say sneaky good, but because they obviously have a good record. But I think after that little lip they had losing those back-to-back games against the Panthers and the Eagles, they've kind of
I think they've gotten
healthy,
and they're starting to right the ship. Already started to click. I think they're danger. I think that might be talking about a collision course between them and the Rams. If I had to put my money on it right now,
Alex,
That'd be a
make
good one.
sure you read Biggie Bronco's comment. I'm sure-
I read it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
I don't
Not
know
that
how you call a team that's gone to the Super Bowl in those last 2 years average and won one of them, but you know, to
I
each
said,
their own.
Mother
Brady had a
Yeah.
even Brady had a little stretch there where he wasn't, making Super Bowls. Not to say that's going to happen to the Chiefs, but we've seen even the GOAT kind of have some struggles.
Certainly
here
not
and there.
happening this year.
Yeah,
Right.
Hey, so wait a
Not when
second.
a whole
Wait
bunch
a
of stuff happens.
Wait a second. You have I looked at it because I wanted to make sure I was prepared for this show, Coach. You called me unprepared a lot. Anyway, you have an 11% chance of making the playoffs. 11%. Now, I don't know how that breaks down, but basically you got to win all the rest of your games when it comes down to the last game.
Yeah, they
basically-
No, it's not. Yeah, they have to win all their games, and I think the Bills have to lose a couple. Like
Chargers have to lose to the Broncos.
Yeah,
I get all that, and maybe it won't play out, but I'd love to have it play out where the Raiders would be the team, and knowing the Raiders, they'd friggin' lose at home to you guys anyway, and you guys would get in. I'm just saying.
It could
the
play out
Chiefs-
that way. We'll
No
see.
argument over here. No argument.
I like the Chiefs' chances.
Or the Chiefs can lose this week, and none of it matters. So.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Chiefs got to focus hard on this week first.
Indeed, we both do.
I ain't worried. No, I'm kidding.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared.
All right, so let's move on down the line. Let's talk about Do You Believe? Let's get into our rolling segment, one of my hottest segments on the podcast here.
Best
So,
segment, in my opinion.
yes, best segment. You're right. I definitely agree with that. So, we're getting our first reaction to questions that I have ready for the panel here. So, I'm going to ask each panel member a question. Do they believe or do not believe what is going to happen in this particular question? They don't know the questions beforehand. It is complete first reaction. What we're going to see here in their responses here. So, let's get into here. Okay, I got my questions right here. So I'm gonna start with Dub this week. I'm gonna give RG a break.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, Dub. Do you believe that the Ravens need a reset, either coaching or personnel?
Damn.
Damn.
I do. And I wanted to say that they just needed to get healthy, but it really feels like the sentiment that I get from from my Ravens friends and just being down the street from Baltimore is that it's time. And I hate saying this because it's so hard to come across a good coach. You know what I mean? It's so hard to come across stability. And but it just feels like the team is not responding to Harbaugh the way that they should be. And when that happens, you got to make a change. And I hate to say that because they're a really classy organization, and he's been a stand-up coach and a great coach for so long. Like I said, stability is something you don't see often, and you don't see somebody do it as well as he's done it. But you can't argue with just continuing to fold and continuing to not have your team perform when they need it most. That comes down to the coach. You know what I mean? And I think that things have to change. The question is, is always, if you're going to make a change, you have to make sure that you have somebody in mind that, it's no question. You can't just make a change without having some type of plan. So that's the next question that I would have is, if they were to make a coaching change, who's the guy that could come in and fit in and change that culture around and be able to get this team over the hump. So, I don't know, what
Bobby
the options are.
Petrino. Lamar's college coach, dude. Bring him in.
Wow.
Yeah, not that move. Yeah, that's not one that I would do.
Might as well say Matt Rule for all that. Might as well say Matt Rule.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin want to come over?
Right.
Right.
Hey, Bobby Petrino, as long as you got some sexy secretaries that are able to come with the job.
Wow.
Sorry, Deb. I didn't mean
But
it.
I mean, listen, that would be the direction that I would probably be looking to is just an amicable split, similar to what what Philadelphia did with Andy Reid, where it was just time for him to move on. It wasn't any hard feelings, anything like that. I think something similar like that, and I don't think this would be the last we would see Harbaugh. But to answer your question, I do think that it's time for a change. It's just been too many times where they've come up short. and then to come up this year and just just play bad football all across the board. It's time to make a change.
Okay. Because I said coaching up personnel, so I was thinking maybe they need to finally find themselves a rock star OC. I just think that between Roman and Monken, it just hadn't worked. Go out and get your number one receiver, number one. Number two, go out and get yourself a real OC that can, modernize this offense and really get the best out of Lamar Jackson. I think that's what they're missing, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I think they're missing that. Maybe even a change in DC. Like change your position coaches. Just get a new OC in DC and give one more go at it. Because to your point, I think the stability and the leadership qualities that Harbaugh brings is definitely not something you find every day. And unless you find a rock star coach that's guaranteed to be a slam dunk, which I don't see on the horizon, they're all going to be gambles. Then maybe you need to do that first. Because you have the personnel in place, maybe reset your running backs, reset your OCs, and get yourself a number one receiver in the draft and give another go. But, I think that something needs to change. I agree with you there for sure. If that does mean Harbaugh's gone and he just clean house, I don't know. I don't know how Lamar's going to feel about that because that's the only person he's played for is Harbaugh. That's going to be a coach to talk to him too.
Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's funny you say that. There was a Reddit post apparently that a former Ravens player girlfriend had leaked some quote unquote secrets. And some of the secrets were, one, that Lamar isn't really a fan of Harbaugh.
Really?
He wanted him to, Now this is, like I said, this is a Reddit post, and this is
it's alleged. Yes.
This is alleged.
Yeah.
But allegedly.
Remember, to the air quotes, allegedly.
He did it already.
Yeah. The allegedly that Harbaugh's kind of lost the locker room, and they wanted some changes. There were some other things, but for the sake of this conversation, that was the major thing right there. Is that even Lamar was kind of looking for some type of change in coaching and changing in aspects. So once again, this is all alleged, air quotes, but.
Right.
There you go. Hey, clap on, brother. That's awesome. Make sure.
Well, listen, he learned from the best. We got a lawyer in the building. He's been coaching us all how to deliver takes without getting sued. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
But if you look at Lamar's body language, he kind of seems checked out a little bit too. If you want to be honest about it, if I'm being hyperbolic or being a microanalyst. Kind of thing.
It's the same thing over and over again. You get to a certain point of the season and things start to become mundane, and you start to, if you can figure it out, if you know what's coming up, then other teams can figure it out. Other teams are kind of keying in on it. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it's a classy organization. I love the way that they do things. So I have faith that they'll be able to turn things around, and hopefully, Lamar is able to get one because he's definitely one of the classy guys in the NFL. We'll love to see him get one.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. So let's move over to Violator here. So we're going to stay in the AFC North and we're talking about teams. Do you believe that the Steelers need to move on from Tomlin?
Ooh.
I'm glad I didn't get that one.
Damn. Well, now I got to step in that one. Here's the thing. It's just like what Coach Mike was just saying. Fans and coaches wear out their welcomes, and I've heard it from some Steeler fans that they're just tired of the same mundane, that whole fire is gone from the Steelers that they're used to. And I can attest to what they're saying. It's just they need to throw some other mix in there. And I've been hearing them talk about, hey, Tomlin just wore out his time. Just get somebody new and fresh in there. It's kind of like losing the locker room. So, but you're losing the fan base basically. But I'm going to say change, like he said, maybe change an OC or DC. But to move him from it, that's like moving one of your cornerstone pieces, and the whole system may fall apart. It's like cutting your nose off to spite your face.
That part.
Or that saying, careful what you wish for.
That part too. Yeah, I agree with that. Because again, back to the conversation about Harbaugh, if you got a guy that's a rock star to guarantee the work coming in, then that's fine. But if you don't, you're gonna look foolish if you bring a guy in like who's the OC who's the current OC for the Chiefs right now, Alex? He was the Bears.
Nagy.
Nagy, right?
Yeah, please, someone take him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Matt Nagy flamed out with the Bears, so I don't think he's a good fit for the coach.
Right. But that's my point. You bring a guy like Matt Nagy in who's successful as an OC, and he comes in and he completely and utterly falls on his face, then you're really in dire straits, right? So yeah, I think that is
don't Penn State it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes, don't Penn State it. Great callback. Yes.
Don't end up with Matt Campbell. All right.
You go from James Franklin to Matt Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you don't want to do. You know.
Oh, is that who Penn State?
Yes.
You get a coach like whose name like Kubiak. His name's out there a lot.
Yeah.
And
I know Jesse Minter's kind of out there a lot too for the defense.
You know, offensive minded head coach that could add some more. Because what fans are wanting is that glitz in that what do you call it? That shock therapy type of a thing with the teams now. And oh man, I went brain dead. Coach Tomlin is about the old school way. And what I was saying, you're seeing a generational turn right now. And I'm not sure if Andy Reid's not dealing with the same kind of stuff. They like the game the way it was set up. They don't get too fancy, you know, and fans want some, you know, instant thrill. And these guys are not like that. They're like those bricklayer type guys. So a guy like Kubiak, who's come through the ranks, it's about time to get him to get a chance in the league. So if we move away from Pete Carroll, that would be my vote, Clint Kubiak.
Okay. I like it. Okay, good stuff. All right, RG, I got a good one for you.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's go back to the NFC North here. Do you believe that the Bears' success hinges on Caleb Williams' playmaking?
Ooh. I'm going to say no. I think the Bears' success relies on that run game. If that run game can be dominant like it was against Philly, you don't need Caleb Williams to make those, you know, those highlight reel type plays. You know, if he can be just, I hate using this term because it gets thrown around so much, but I can't really think of a better word. But if he can be that game manager type where he's just not turning the ball over, keeping the offense flowing, picking up crucial third downs when you need to, and just kind of go off the back of his running backs, I think that they can be a very dangerous team. The defense has proven that they can, you know, step up when needed. Obviously, Ben Johnson is a massive reason for the offense having such a complete turnaround. I think he's 100% trying to mimic what he did in Detroit with Montgomery and Gibbs, and now he's got Monga and Swift. Exactly.
I told you, Monungai is a very bad thing to have. It takes a couple shots to get rid of it.
Well, I don't think Bears fans are going to want to get rid of their Monungai, at least for right now. But yeah,
with the itch.
It's a good Monungai.
It is good.
Yeah,
so I think, you know, Caleb is the type of quarterback where if you need him to make those plays, he 100% can. But I think you also kind of have to save him from himself a little bit because he's always looking for that highlight reel, you know, giant pass down the field. And it's funny that same play that he ran against Philly for that touchdown was the exact same play that he got picked off on against Green Bay in the end zone when he's trying to go for that little crossing route.
Yep.
And yeah, man, I just think that, you know, Caleb is a good enough quarterback where as long as he's not the one turning the ball over and, you know, he just lets the run game kind of do what they do and let Ben Johnson call the game, I think they could be a really dangerous team.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Good stuff. All right, Cab, you're up. So
you ready? Go ahead.
Damn.
So do you believe that Mike McDaniel has done enough to keep his job in Miami?
Dude, oh my God. I was prepared for like a question like you threw to Violator, a toughie. Yes. Have you seen I guess we have seen like the last 5 games that they've won. Okay. And that locker room was, and it still might be fractured, but they're playing for him. And that's the question that you would need to have for anybody, unlike our locker room that wants to see the old, I think somebody called him Joe Biden. I did not call him that, but that was there in the comment. He needs to go. But yeah, Mike McDaniel, and everyone was saying like, oh, well, wait till after the season when the Dolphins get rid of Mike McDaniel, then have him come in as an OC. I think he's going to stay. And a couple reasons why. I do not know the rest of their schedule, Coach. I'm very sorry. They can flame out in the rest, but I think that as long as he goes 500 the rest of the way, he would show a decent turnaround for what they beat the Bills, which they always
beat down on the Bills.
30-13.
PTA.
Yes.
Hey, but the thing is, they always beat the Bills one game in Miami.
Got a good point.
Check it out. They always do.
No, you're not wrong.
Like,
you're not wrong.
Up until this year, the Chiefs always had a bye week before they hit the Raiders. Check that out, because that's true too. Up until like this year and last year, they finally figured that one out. But yeah, I think that he's done enough. And the other thing is maybe because the Miami ownership is cheap, they might not want to pay a guy that's gone, unlike White-haired Mo that likes to pay coaches that are not currently. I don't know who that is, but yeah, paying coaches that aren't. Yeah, thank you, Wayne. I have no clue either. But I think that if the Dolphins are as cheap as I profess them to be, I think McDaniel's done quite enough. I don't know if he gets rid of some of the bad players that are on his ass in the locker room, that he can sweep them out, and then he can start fresh with what's there. But I think he's going to be there.
That's a fact, Ed. Man, you hit the nail right on the head. Nobody's cheaper than Cincinnati. You're right about that. That is a fact.
I was going to say that. Damn, Ed, Ed's got most of my rim shots available. Rim shots. Okay, wow. Making sure. So yeah,
they're close. Schedule: Steelers, Bengals, Buccaneers, and Patriots is the remaining schedule.
Tough slate.
Yeah.
No, I think with Steelers, they can deal with the Steelers. Bengals, that might be an L. Bucks, I tell you what, especially if they beat the Bucks, and it doesn't matter, Florida. It's going to be down in Florida, so the weather's going to be pretty good for both teams. And Steelers, Bucks, Bengals, and what was that last one?
Patriots and New England.
The Patriots might have stuff so wrapped up by then, they might be as long as they bring their thermals, and they don't have a snow blower on the sidelines available so that John Smith can kick a field goal. Yes, I'm old school. Look it up, folks. They can win.
Okay. Fair enough.
And that was against the Dolphins, by the way, if you go back in history.
When one Ray Finkel. That was all we know. Ray Finkel. Yeah, one Ray Finkel. Gotcha.
No, it was John Smith, the English guy, and it was against the Dolphins. And Shula was so apoplectic. Look up that word, folks. It's a big one. That they were about ready to he was close to last rites. He was like, it was, that was horrible. The guy on work release from the prison too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You don't know that, Coach?
I do not. I'm not a historian like you, sir.
Okay, look it up. Miami, New England snowplow game. With the kicker John Smith. It again. I'm not useless knowledge, folks. They do have me here for a reason.
Yeah. All right, AG, you're last on the docket for the questions here, and this is a good one. Do you believe that Daniel Jones is done as a starter?
That's a soft.
Damn, that's tough. You think that's soft? I don't think so. I think Indy is going to sign him to some sort of cheaper extension, and he's going to get one more chance next year, just because of how strong of a start he had. I know things kind of tapered off the last few weeks, but I mean, they started off hotter than anyone, and I think that they're going to see what they got with that. Just based on probably where they'll be picking in the draft. I think they kind of have to double down on.
Well, that's the thing. They don't have first round pick for the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. So, yeah, they kind of have to at this point. I mean, it's either that or some other team's trash. So
they're going to play one more year.
So they got to double down on the Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones training camp preseason battle and see what they have. But I do think this injury got them at least to get Jones back for cheaper. Because I think if the year went on, especially if they made the playoffs and the year went on and he was healthy, I mean, he was, I think, in for a pretty decent extension.
Yeah, I mean, at least Sam
Darnold
money
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, at least Sam Darnold money, if nothing else. He might not be top dollar, but it would be Sam Darnold money. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, good stuff. All right.
All right, for you, Coach.
Grace, you got one?
I got one. Do you believe that Nick Sirianni will be fired at the end of this year?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that he has to do what we talked about in regards to what Tomlin should do and what Harbaugh should do. He got to fire his OC. I mean, nothing's wrong with this team outside of their stagnant offense.
But that's his bestie, Coach. How is he going to fire his bestie?
Listen, it's not personal. It's about business. You fire your bestie, we can go party at the club when I make $8 million a year as a head coach, or can we both be broke, looking at each other crazy and be friends? Like,
both jobless.
What do you want? Which one do you want? I'd rather have my $8 million and we just be like, okay, I'll take care of you. I might slide you a couple of dollars on the slide or pay for the hookers for the next few weeks. I don't know. But one way or another, what I'm not going to do is give up my head coaching job to be buddies with you because you can't call plays.
Did I hear Coach say hookers?
I did.
You did.
Wow. I apologize. I was actually just in the private chat and I was like remiss, and I apologize, Coach, that I missed that. And of course, when I'm in there, I miss a shot about hookers.
It was a sleeper.
I will say though, Coach, that's your solution is not the first time we've talked about that with Sirianni, though. And I think at some point that has to be addressed. It's a top-down problem to some degree outside of the two coordinators that he had, in that year that went on. Well, the ones that, went on to be head coaches somewhere else.
Right.
Once he's had to replace one of those, it's been, the same kind of year, like a hot start and then blundering. And we're talking about this.
And we understand and define the problem. And that's what I would sell to Howie Roseman. I'm like, clearly the issue is every time we have these problems, the OC is the culprit. When I've got Shane Steichen, we went to the Super Bowl. Didn't win, but we went. Had who was the guy in between them? I don't even remember, but it was some
Brian Johnson or something.
Something like that.
Something generic as hell.
Floundered and didn't do much. Came in, got Kellen Moore. He was a free agent, got it from the Chargers. Go to the Super Bowl, and you win it. Now you got Kevin Patullo because Kellen Moore moved on, and guess what? You're back to the same stagnant offense, even with all the weapons you had. You got two good receivers, great tight end, great running back, great O-line. There's nothing wrong with them outside of the play calling and just the clunkiness that is the offense that is the Eagles right now. So I would say that I would definitely sell it to Howie Roseman and say, hey, nothing's wrong here outside of the fact that, Fangio's fine, I'm fine. Locker room was okay with us. They're just not feeling Patullo, and we got to get rid of him and find somebody else. So that's my thought.
Hey, Coach. What if Howard Roseman hasn't already said to Coach Sirianni, your buddy's got to go at the end of the season?
Oh, you got to go.
I think they've already spotted that from the top, like you said, from the top down. Yeah, I think that's already been spotted. So
so I'm already looking for candidates. I'm already in the yellow pages looking.
I'm hoping Mike McDaniels gets fired.
That part, let's hope they lose out and get fired. I can hire him, or this will be the classic FU moment. Go out and get Brian Daboll.
Man!
Sign Brian Daboll to your OC role and let him run that offense for a year and see what happens. Yeah, big FU to the Giants. Big FU to the Giants. So I like that move.
Rosen would do that too. Just to
he would,
Why not?
They're about winning, man. They're about winning.
Matter of fact, I would call him right now and be a consultant. So when it'd be looking over Petula's shoulder And then when he goes, I'm right in there. So I'm gonna worry about waiting. Yes, I mean, I would do that right now if I was them. But yeah, I definitely would make the call, see if he's interested. For sure, why not? Only thing he might be waiting on to see if your boy from Buffalo gets fired. He gets fired, then I get a head coaching gig. But if not, then guess what? Go to a team that's already ready made. You got your quarterback, your running back, your line. You got way better situation than he did in New York. And he ain't got to be the head coach.
Yep, it's called plays.
Indeed. Okay.
All right.
Good stuff. All right, so let's move on to the cover forecast and our games of the week. There's some good ones on the docket here, man. That's another, a fun-filled weekend of football games that are high stakes for sure. So at the top of the docket, we got Chargers and Chiefs, and both in a must-win situation. And ironically enough, it is the Arrowhead, and the Chiefs are favored by 4.5.
I don't get it.
I think three of the
keep doing this.
I know, and they too much of your demise apparently, because every time you're favored, you struggle, right? But if you're the underdog, you win. It's a weird dynamic, but I think half the panel's already decided, so we'll let Dub and Violator and Cap pick, and then we'll move on from this one.
Take the points. That's all I'm gonna say. Take the points, y'all.
That part. Listen to the general gambler. He knows what he's talking about.
So take LA in the +4.
Yes,
there you go.
Take LA +4.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I'll figure out how much I want.
Eagles can win that game with a field goal and you still cover. That's ridiculous in a divisional game. I can't believe this line is that big.
I know. It's crazy. So, Dub, what you got in this game?
Well, I like the points. I like what you say about the taking LA with the points. But overall, I think the Chiefs. I want to take the Chiefs to win the game. And the only reason I say that is I can't see the Chiefs losing 3 in a row. Is it 4 in a row or something like that?
3 in a row.
Yeah, and at this point in the season when they need it this bad, and they're at home, right? It's at Arrowhead, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at Arrowhead. Like I don't know. I can't. I'm not ready to count them out yet in that situation. So I do like the Chargers to cover the points though, but I like the Chiefs to win the game.
I like it. Okay. All right, Violator, who you got in this matchup?
I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win this out. Like I say, I'm not a big points guy, so I just know X's and O's. I'm just taking the Chiefs at home. No way they're gonna go down 3. They got embarrassed by the Texans, so they're gonna have a little attitude when they come out.
Okay. Well, I hope not, but I get what you're saying.
Oh, they will. They will.
They're good. All right, Kat, what you doing over there? You making a bet?
Yeah, I mean, hell, I'm going to try to make some money off this app, and I'll listen to some folks.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say this: I will take the Chiefs to win, because the Garglers barely got past the Eagles I didn't say the right thing. The Garglers just barely got past the Eagles, and I didn't see the end. I was getting my bags at the time, so I don't know how it ended. I found out later on that Hurts threw another interception. Yep. I'm like, really? Because they were down on the goal line. I'm looking at my phone. It's like first and 10 at the 4. I'm like, they're almost in tush push range, and then they lose the game. And I didn't see it. So I'm like, I felt bad for my gal that missed out on that $900-something bucks. But yeah, I think the Chiefs will take that game because they need it. They need it more than the Chargers do at this point.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Well, we know where Alex is going. I mean, unless you want to add to why, but I'm sure you ride with your squad, and so are we.
Yeah.
So are we.
Come on.
So yeah,
I would agree with RG's take the points sentiment, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
It's going to be a close game regardless.
Regardless, I agree. Okay. All right.
So the Bills, 4 is good. I got it down.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So the Bills are traveling to Gillette Stadium in New England this weekend to face off against the Patriots for what could be the deciding factor in the division. So Bills are actually favored on the road by 1.5. So RG, who you got in this matchup?
Man, this is a tough one. Because the Bills obviously lost to the Patriots earlier in the year. And with these divisional games, kind of a little bit of the sentiment I have about the Chargers-Chiefs game as well, it's just so tough to sweep a division opponent, man. Like barring them being one of the worst teams in the league, it's tough no matter how you slice it. These players get up for these divisional games. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the Bills on this one. They are kind of, riding a little bit high following that, turnaround win against the Bengals. I think if they lose that game, man, they going into Gillette, it would be a rough sledding there. But I'm going to go with the Bills here. I'm going to stay the hell away from the points because 1.5 is nothing. But yeah, I'll take the Bills in this one.
Okay. All right, what you got, Deb? Bills or Packers? I mean, Bills or Patriots, excuse me. Jump ahead. Yeah.
For the same reason RG said, I think it's hard to sweep a divisional opponent, so I'm going to go with the Bills.
Okay. All right, Violator, who you got?
Bills.
Okay. All right, Cap, who you got?
Roll, Buffalo! Or I don't know what the hell they say, but it's like something Buffalo.
Bills Mafia?
Yeah, that Buffalo stuff.
Okay, so you going with Buffalo?
Yeah, plus I bet them.
Okay, so there it is. And easy money. Okay. All right, AG, who you got? Bills or Patriots?
I'm going against the grain, dude. I'm going Patriots. I'm feeling
do the same thing.
I'm feeling good about it.
I am too. Yeah.
I know it's tough to beat a divisional opponent twice, but it's been a weird year, to say the least.
Yeah.
Bills have been down, and they've lost to some bad teams, and Patriots are on an unreal run right now. So,
yeah, I think it's sweep the leg, Johnny. I think they get the brooms out, man. I think they do. I'm riding with the Patriots until further notice. Sweep the leg, Johnny. So yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. I think they get it done. I just don't like the Bills' consistency. Like they find a couple of things that work and they seem to squeak out games. But they haven't impressed me this year yet. Especially against some of their opponents. So, yeah, I'm riding with the Patriots, especially at home. Yeah, I'm riding with the Patriots for sure. Okay. All right, so Packers travel to Denver, and actually the Packers are favored on the road at 2.5, going into Mile High, which is interesting. That's so interesting one. I got to say that. That's wild. But Packers and Broncos, RG, who you got?
I got to go with the Broncos, man. That defense, until further notice, and I know they had a kind of a rough week against Mariota. 2 weeks ago they are coming off a bye. Another big reason why, just a little bit of extra rest for the Broncos. They're at home. Give me the points. That's free points, since I fully expect the Broncos to win this game just outright.
Okay. All right, Deb, who you got? Packers or Broncos?
I'm actually going Packers. I'm going Packers. I think this is, it could be a Super Bowl preview. You never know. It's way too early to tell.
Oh, that's a good one.
Damn, I see.
Yeah.
Way too early to tell. But I think it's definitely going to be one of the premier matchups of the week. So I'm gonna go Packers.
I like it. All right, Violet, who you got? Packers or Broncos?
I'm gonna stick with Broncos, man. Just from what I've seen in person. Hey, until I see somebody hit them in the face, I'm going with the Broncos, man.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Cap, we got Packers or Broncos?
I got the Broncos. I think that this is their push that I was saying. Hey, Bo Nix might not be him, but he's got a defense behind him. And the Packers, all the Packers got is Josh Jacobs. And I know they got Micah Parsons, but I was going to say that, Micah Parsons. But I would go Broncos for that one.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. All right, AJ, you got Packers or Broncos?
I'm with Dub. I'm going Packers. I think honestly it's two pretty Broncos defense is definitely better, but I think it's two pretty damn good defenses going against each other in this game. And unless Jordan Love comes out and lays an egg like he did a few weeks ago, I'd put more faith in him to be the QB to win the game than Knicks at this point. I think that's what it comes down to. So that's why I'm going Packers.
And I think the Packers defense steps up in this matchup. And maybe they cause a turnover to get Bo Nix routed in that pocket, and he gives one away, and they get a score or two, or put him in plus territory to get him an easy field goal, easy score. That might be the delineation in this game, and it might end up winning by 3. But I'm taking Packers as well. I think Packers going to be upset alert here for sure. Well, they're not upset because they're the favorite, but clearly they're not at home, so it's going to be a good one. Yeah. All right, so the last one on the docket is Lions at Rams. And the Rams are favored by 5.5. This is going to be a good one, too. And they're playing at SoFi in Cali. So who you got in this one, RG? Lions or Rams?
I'm going to go with the Lions here. kind of
Damn.
a little bit of I guess the little underdog pick here. I'm gonna go with the Lions here. I think they're kind of they're kind of gearing up for a bit of a run here. They realize, they're out of the playoff picture at the moment. Dan Campbell always has those guys ready to play. And I think I know they got some injuries to the O-line, so that's going to be the biggest thing is if you're able to hold up at least a little bit, maybe you get that run game going against the Rams defense, kind of take the ball out of Jared Goff's hands a little bit. But with all that being said, 5.5 points is a lot.
It is.
And these are two teams that, I know, like I said, Lions aren't in the playoff race right now, but they are a good team. Make no mistake, they are a well-coached team. They have the potential to pop off at any moment. So yeah, give me the Lions, and I'll take the 5.5, please.
I like it. All right, Dub, what you got in this one? Lions and Rams?
I got the Rams. I think the Rams defense steps up big. Listen, this is Goff returning back to LA. Of course,
it is reunion.
Yeah. So it's a nice reunion there. And at the same time, Stafford going against his old team definitely wants to put up some numbers. So I love what the Rams are doing right now. I think that they're poised to make a strong run for the playoffs, and a deep run in the playoffs at that. And this is the time of year that they're going to do it. So I can see a statement win against another tough team right here in this week. So I'm going to take the Rams.
I like it. All right, Violet, who you got, Lions and Rams?
I got Rams because of Matt Stafford and that young defense who's going to be flying all over Goff, giving him the business. And I think they shut down that run game for the Lions.
Good one. Yeah, they've been stout against run all year, so you got a great point there. I like that. I like that take. Okay. Cap, you there?
Jean-Paul Jacques is here.
I knew something was up.
Yeah, come on now.
You haven't seen when I go off camera, I'm looking for my friggin' hat. You merde. That's a swear word, by the way. This is a very, very tough game for Detroit Lyon against the LA Bucks things with the horns. What do you call them? It doesn't matter. So the Rams are giving 5.5, right?
Yeah.
I will take the points. I will take Lyon in the 5.5. Is that correct? Am I doing that correct?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
doing
sir.
that correct. Yes.
I think it's going to be a very tough game, but I think that the Lyon with 5.5 points will be victorious. The 5.5 points will be victorious. Victory! Viva la victory! Viva la betting! If you have the money to lose.
There you go. That part. Yeah, gamble responsibly, as we always say.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
And never chase your losses.
That part. Okay. All right, AG, who you got? Lions or Rams?
I think the Rams win, but it's like Cap said, take the points. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Rams squeak it out. Pause if needed.
There you go. Yeah, I'm rolling the Rams.
Gotta watch those squeakers. Gotta watch. Oh, there's one again. Okay.
Yeah. They can sneak up on you. I understand.
Yeah, they did. That was a sneaker.
Yes. So, I'm taking the Rams. I think it's a statement game. I think they put the whole league on notice that they're here to stay and they're going to be the team to beat. The Lions are decimated in their secondary and having to deal with Puka and Devontae to boot. I think that's going to be a bad day for the Lions in SoFi. So, yeah, I definitely think that the Rams get this victory for sure. And I would argue that they might even cover the points. You're looking at a 6-point win. Yeah, why not? I think they can do it. So, I'm going to roll them with the Rams. All right. So, there you have it, folks. Those are our picks of the week for the games of the week. So, we'll check that out next week, see how we did. All right. So, to wrap up the show, we get into our fourth and final segment, our hot takes of the week. So, anybody got any quote-unquote hot takes brewing in their pot, brewing in their kettle, brewing in their crock pot, their brisket fixer, their steamer, their smoker, whatever you cooking in, you got any hot takes, let them out now. And we're going to get those done and we're going to get up out of here. And we'll be back next week, as always, to break down week 15.
I got one, but I want to defer to V if he has one first.
Okay.
Hot takes?
Yeah, hot takes.
Clear the room. That's my hot take.
Okay.
No, on a serious note, no. My hot take is will the Titans the Dolphins, Raiders, and it was somebody else I had. Keep their coaches for the 2026 season. So will these guys survive the 2025 season?
Okay. Good stuff. All right. All right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Cap.
I said and does anybody else have one before I blurt?
I was actually going to go with what Edward said here. I think the Raiders actually pull off a win this week against Philly.
Damn.
Wow. No.
That is not hot. That's nuclear.
Nuclear waste.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. That Eagles offense.
If that happens, Sirianni's 100% getting fired.
Hey, man.
Wow.
I think Eagles fans are kind of hoping for it.
Wow.
Nick, here's your buyout. Go lose it in Vegas.
we got Staley out for you guys, so maybe we can get Sirianni out. Head coaches with the S. My hot take, and I don't know if this is hot or whatever, but it's like, hey, Kenny Pickett is not all that in a biscuit, but he showed what he can do when he has the playing thing, other than fumbling his first snap in Kansas City. I remember that one too. You had one thing and you fumbled his very first snap in Kansas City, he fumbled the ball. But if he's able to, I want to see the guy play. He's not a kid. He's been bounced around the league. I want to see Kenny Pickett play. Also, Kenny Pickett is going back to Philly, who got rid of him. That would be that. Remember that. So let Kenny Pickett play, and maybe the Raiders defense, which occasionally can step up, do that and eke out a win. Of course, it would be the one time that I don't go to a game because I think we're going to get our ass handed to us, and I don't want to be cold. Actually, it's because I don't want to be cold, but that's the real reason. But, yeah, let Kenny Pickett play and bring in Bo Jackson's great nephew to come in because he's got good rapport with him. He throws to him all the time on the scout teams. Get Jackson in there and let him play too.
Okay.
Play all the rookies. They can't do any worse than all the crap we've had.
Yep. There you go. Okay. All right. Anybody else got one? I got one. Go ahead.
I'm doubling down from last week when I said the Steelers would beat the Ravens and muddy up the AFC North waters. I think that happens even further this week with the Bengals beating the Ravens and then the Dolphins beating the Steelers Monday night.
Oh, wow.
And we don't know who the hell is going to win that division.
Where's the air horn, Coach? Where's the air horn?
Man, I cannot believe that one. Oh,
pretty high. Best I can do. Quick notice, man.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah, there it is.
There you go. All right. Well, my hot take is, and this is maybe me dancing on that grave or kicking it back in, but it is what it is. The Colts, no matter who they play at quarterback, are not making the playoffs. You can bring in Phil Rivers, Phil Collins, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It doesn't matter.
I can feel it coming in the end of night.
It doesn't matter.
Lord.
It doesn't matter who they bring in. It is over for the Colts, unfortunately.
My favorite part.
Yeah, that is a classic. That is a classic breakdown, Tab. You're right. Indeed. But yes, I do believe the Colts are not making the playoffs regardless of the circumstance.
I would agree with that. And just given that the rest of the schedule, it's
brutal, man. It's brutal. And you got a quarterback that's been sitting on the couch for 5 years or whoever, Riley Leonard or whatever the case may be, with a sprained PCL. There's a problem. There's a problem. Okay. All righty. So any other hot take before we get up out of here?
I'll go a little bit further on your take about the Colts. I don't think they win another game.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
damn. Okay.
I mean, those defenses, man, they are brutal. And they don't even know who their quarterback is.
Yeah. Rough.
But they know who their running back is.
That part, absolutely.
They do. But what teams are going to do? They're gonna stack the box and dare you to beat them another way.
Yep.
They did that to him at Wisconsin. It didn't matter.
Well, that was But if you're not, as long as you're not the Falcons, you're good. That's
true.
Yes, indeed. Okay. All righty, gentlemen. So that'll do it for us this week. If you're looking for the hit squad in any facet, our Commanders insider Mike Dubb, our Chiefs insider Alex Givens, or our Chargers insider Robert Garcia, hit them up on Twitter or Instagram if they have them. Give them a shout out if you have any questions about their team. They'll be happy to answer your questions or banter back and forth with you to a degree. We all got jobs, so we'll have all day to spend with you, but we'll spend a little time. It's all good. It is all good. So if you're looking for the Lockdown Defense Sports, if you're looking for the NFL Nation Live crew, I'm jumping ahead. Ref Guru on Twitter, Violator on Twitter, Captain Jack Rackham on Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. And you can see his hat there. It's shameless plug on his Captain Jack Rackham custom hat. Hit them up on their different spaces for Raiders or referee news. Drop a subscription on Captain Jack Rackham's YouTube channel as well. Give him a shout out there. If you're looking for the Lockdown Defense Sports Network in any space in these facets, we're on all popular social media platforms. Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Please hit that subscribe on the YouTube channel for the YouTube algorithm to know we're out there and we're getting things going in a gigantic way. And if you need to email us and you have any detailed information you want to get to us, please email us as well, lockdowndavidsports@gmail.com. And for our subsidiary channels, if you're looking for any Chargers and all Chargers news each and every day, you can catch us on Electroshock Pod. Myself and Young RG do content on there regularly, so where we're going doing things in there, game previews, recaps, and all things in between. So you look for daily Chargers news, please hit that channel up, hit that subscribe button on that channel as well.
That's not all, folks. That's not all. If you want the best in fantasy football bullcrap, I had to say it.
Of course.
Make sure you hit the lightning. Oh, wrong hat. See, gotta have the hats right. Make sure you hit the lightning fast fantasy football crap. Right, that's merde in French, but it's great show for you. Fantasy football up your kazoo. That's kazoo. I don't know if that's the right word in French, but that's the fantasy football lightning fast. Gosh, just go there. You will be very, very satisfied. Well,
Indeed. So yes, if you're looking for fantasy football content in any space, getting ready for the fantasy football playoffs as we wrap up the season for fantasy football, please hit us up on the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast show. Myself and the real AG Alex Givens goes live each and every week on Wednesday night at 9:00. Lightning Fast FF on all platforms that you can get your social media and podcasts from. YouTube as well. Hit that subscribe button on that and give us a quick shout out if you're looking for any advice for getting ready for your fantasy football playoff and matchups, so we get that going for you. So that's going to do it for us this week. The Hit Squad and the NFL Nation Live crew are ready to roll, and we're going to get up out of here. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. Once again, hit that subscribe button to let the YouTube algorithm know we're doing big things out here. And we'll be back next week to another show. But until then, I'm Coach Defense. That is Young RG, Robert Garcia. That is the big man Violator there. Coach Mike Dubb, Captain Jack Rackham, and the real AG Alex Givens. Until next week, we'll see you when we see you. Step up and lock it down.